Some people smoke meth, some people smoke crack, some people snort coke off of Ricky's ball sack. I've tried them all, don't get me wrong, the best high there is comes from a bone.
Now.
Oh yeah, it does that.
Oh my God, what a horrible day. Let me just start by saying that I wasn't expecting today to be so horrible. I think, all things considered, what the fuck? I'm very grateful.
I'm sorry to hear that.
All things considered, I'm very grateful that you'll still have me, but I recently found out that my mother's man died.
Oh my God. Damn. It's a lot of loss in a small frame of time.
Now we are up shit's creek with no paddle, and to compound all that, I'm kind of feeling a little under the weather, but I think I've been very prideful, so I don't ever want it to seem like that's going to affect me, that's going to bother me or anything like that. If I'm still mentally sound, my physical wherewithal doesn't matter to me, so I'm here, I'm alive, no pun intended. Rest in peace, Jerry.
Thank you for being here. I would have understood if you wasn't up for it today.
Oh, posh. I think I've canceled far too many times. I am ready to go. I am here, I'm willing to talk, and I'm also willing to compromise because, we have a talk now about cannabis, and we have a talk about what it is to us and what it is to other people, for sure. And it feels like a bad time to tell you, but I'm actually kind of trying to get off it.
Hey, I like, being able to speak about all sides of the spectrum when it comes to these topics, so that's okay. You can share more with us. I want to thank you guys who are here listening. I apologize for the delay. You guys are awesome. And you already know, this is your girl, BMF Goddess. My returning co-host, Nick. Again, thanks for being here. Other than the shittiness that's been going on, how have you been?
Yeah, on top of that, I got a wrestling angle that was dropped. That's wrestle speak for it wasn't important enough to some people, and now it's not going to be a thing anymore. And that sucks because I was really enjoying doing that, and I was really enjoying my place in this particular company, but it feels like now I have to start from scratch, and that's okay. That's okay. One thing I've learned to do is to overcome adversity, and one thing I've learned to do is to not let what cannot be changed affect me for very long. So these are just very new things that are happening today. So I apologize if I sound a little irritable.
Totally understandable.
This just, if I ever seem like I am not busy and I don't have anything to do, that's just not true. I'm always busy worrying about something at the very least.
I can definitely relate to that, and you know it. I'm going to play this message real quick.
Certainly.
Yes, Goddess.
Oh my God, what a horrible day. What a great part.
Yes, Goddess.
Oh my God, what a horrible day.
Oh, he did? Oh, you did? When you started talking, I guess it added to his message, which is weird, because normally it doesn't do that.
I guess
the studio has updated so much. They probably have a lot of bug fixes to take care of.
The only reason I'm on this app is because of you, so the better that they get with it, I'll be able to see through conversations with you and other
As you can see now, we're able to have more than one co-host. I mean, more than two, excuse me. There's a couple of neat features. It's cool. Anyway, let's get down to it. Guys, today we're talking cannabis. I've been wanting to talk about this for a long time because, frankly, it's kind of grinding my gears. I mean, think about it. I know not all of you are cannabis smokers. But you know someone who is. And for those of you who are, I'm sure it can totally relate to what we're going to talk about today. Nick, you just dropped a bomb and you're trying to quit. You want to share more about that?
So I was working a show on Saturday, and this is after I admitted to myself that, I kind of need to take a break from it for a little while. I was using it to think, and that's different than what I wanted. I wanted it to be a device. I wanted it to propel me into a different mindset, and instead it just became my mindset. Like, I couldn't function without it, and that's not what I wanted to do. So on Saturday, after the show, I meet these nice people they don't even ask me my name before they hand it to me, and I'm like, okay, this is a good day, this is fine. And that was the first time in a few days that I had actually smoked, but not counting Saturday, it's been like a week.
Okay.
And I got very turned off on it because, not to mention that it's growing in legality, but it's also growing in popularity, that people are using this device, just like I called it before, to kind of to mask how they feel, and that's not what I was trying to do, and that's what it feels like to me. It feels like I was using it to be quiet, to be in my head, to be more introspective. And I'm introspective as a motherfucker, but I really feel like I needed to feel my actual emotions again, because I'm an irritable guy. I'm a very testy guy, but when I smoke, it's I'm able to look past everything. Basically, I'm able to see the better in otherwise deplorable people, etc., etc. I didn't like that. I wanted it to be a celebration. I didn't want it to be an everyday thing. That's what it feels like to me that it became. It feels like now with the legal, and that too, it's legal now, which is bewildering to me.
It's not legal where you live yet, right?
It is. I live in Jersey, so it is legal out here now.
It's legal out there now too? Okay, I wasn't sure about that.
Yes, New Jersey and New York, back to back. And I'm, not to say I'm ungrateful, I feel like it was always going to happen. But, there's a lot of unanswered questions, what happened to the people that get arrested for these unnecessary drug charges, and, why is it, people are posting about it on social media, trying to make it into something grand, trying to make it into something huge. It's not supposed to be this grand or this huge. It's supposed to be something that you do for yourself, and it's supposed to make you feel better. But in hindsight, it didn't make me feel better. It just made me feel. So that's why I decided that I'm going to take a break. It's not going to be forever. If not for just now, then maybe for a long while. But I've decided that I'm not going to get it anymore. But if I'm offered, I guess I'll partake. So very circumstantial.
While I get where you're coming from, I really don't give a fuck. I really didn't care about it being legal because I'm a smoke regardless. But
Right.
I know a lot of changes come with that. Once they legalized it, people didn't even wait. I think there's certain ground rules that should be, or laws that should be put in place, because the next day I went outside and there's people smoking all over the streets, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. But on the same side, it's not fine, because you have there's children, there's other people who don't smoke. Just like with cigarettes, that's your personal choice. I don't think that you should I guess invade everybody's space out now because it's legal.
Right, exactly. Now that it's no longer a private issue. Now it's like on the table. It seems that more people can make these choices just because it's available. I kind of feel like it is akin to smoking cigarettes now, because it's like when you can buy it from any old store, it doesn't have the same joy in my life as when it was like a secret pickup. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you get that kind of rush from going out and seeing your boy, being like, you got that? And he says, yeah, I got that. And you hand it to him and you're trying to be low about it, but there's no joy in it anymore. You can buy it. It's regulated by the government. You feel like if it feels like this was a long time coming, I feel like it should have never been a problem to begin with. But research shows that it was to target minorities and lower income communities. You know, like these people enjoyed this, and they made it into something bad, and that's just deplorable. So now it's like, oh hey, we're flipping the lid and we're making it into something good. So they don't deserve to be cheered for that. Like, they're hurting my feelings.
Yeah. Let me play this message.
Certainly.
Yeah, over by where I live in Jersey City, they smoke it right by my house. So yeah, it's definitely illegal over here. Out here, I mean.
I'm not too far from Jersey City, actually. I have to pass by there on my way to work. I work in Manhattan. I have been smoking out my window since before it was decriminalized, since before it was legal, quote unquote. I didn't know if it was going to be allowed. I was like hoping that I would never get caught. I was hoping they would never come to my door, knock, knock, knock. You know, you can't be smoking that in here. But they never did that. It kind of makes me feel like there was never an issue to begin with. There should have never been laws against it. You know, like Native Americans have been smoking for eons and generations, and maybe they had it right, and European society just destroyed what America could have been.
Right. And you know what? They got, I mean, to my knowledge, they didn't legalize the sale of it, you know, just by anybody who wants to sell it. But around my job, there's like a dude on every corner, and they're sitting out there with the weed in your face, like, or with a table full of weed, and the cops are not doing anything. They don't care. It's like they just walk by. And I work downtown 34th Street. It's a busy tourist and shopping area. So I'm like, really? It's like that? But no, like I even copped from one of the guys a few times. Like,
it's not a bad feeling. It's not a bad feeling to be able to not have to look over your shoulder, to feel like you're not in danger anymore. That's better than it used to be. Like that, I won't forget how I started smoking at work. Unless my boss is listening, in which case I don't smoke at work. But when I would be moving off-site. I would make sure that I wasn't obviously smacked or anything like that when I went back on post. But to be honest, I'm a security guard. If I'm smacked, I'm sitting still, I'm quiet. That's as much security guard as you can get.
exactly.
I just don't want to be inconsiderate to anybody who would smell me and be like, ew, you smell like that stuff. And that's to the ignorant people who smell that and automatically assume something's wrong.
Right.
My coworkers introduced me to the guy that they go see who's like 4 blocks away, and he didn't need to like vet me or anything like that. He was like, oh, what you need? And it felt like that was a good feeling, you know, and that was before New York passed it, so that was still on the low. And he was on the corner, the same corner every single day at the same time. And it was like he shows up and he sells what he has until he's out, and then he leaves. And I was just so happy to be let in on this loop, this group of people that go and see him, that, you know, I was blinded by the truth.
Yeah.
It should never have been illegal to begin with.
Well,
You can go ahead and play that message if you want to.
yeah, let me play that real quick. I'm about to get into some stuff.
So it's funny because at one point in my life, I actually quit for like a whole year. And not for nothing, as a 420 friendly myself, not smoking for that whole year, my mindset was just like completely different. And it wasn't even in a bad way. It was more so in a good way. You know, like, I had pushed myself more. I had more focus. You know, like, I wasn't just like, smacked and munchies and that was it for my day. No, like, I was out, I was making moves. I was doing all of that. So sometimes, taking that hiatus is not a bad thing. And go for it.
I am glad that you said all of that because I was beginning to feel like it was a mistake. I would like to rehash. I'm a very irritable person. I am a very testy guy. And I feel like I would use it to, like, bring myself down a little bit or bring myself up, depending on where you are. So it would be the way that I would, like, process things. Like, let's put things in a comparison. Now, while I'm dangerously sober, if you cut me off in traffic, I don't drive, but let's say I did. If you cut me off in traffic, I would have a vendetta against you. I would probably come and try to, like, cut you off back. You know, I'm also one of my worst facets is I can hold a grudge. But let's talk about it like a couple months ago, where it'd be like, something's upsetting me and I can feel it starting to take hold. Let me just visit the window and see how I feel after I'm done. And usually I'd be like, there's a lot of other stuff that's bothering me. There's a lot of other stuff to do. It's fine. But I feel like I was more like masking it. I was more like putting it down and not feeling how I was supposed to feel. I was feeling how I wanted to feel, and that's not always going to work. And to conclude on that thought, it feels like I was budgeting to spend money on weed every 2 weeks whenever I got paid. So it felt like that was like part of the routine, and that's not what it was supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be a routine. It's supposed to be for celebrations. It's supposed to be for good times. And my friend warned me when I started smoking that I was going to get attached, and I said, doesn't sound like me. Little did I know, he knew exactly what he was talking about, and I knew then that I didn't have enough money to support this as a habit, and I was getting by on generosity, and I was always going to my friend's house, and he was always making sure that I was lit up, so good on him. But nowadays, when I can smoke by myself, and also I didn't know how to roll back then, so I had to go see him. Now that I know how to roll, and I know where to smoke, and I know how to smoke, like, it just seemed like there was nothing stopping me from doing it all the time. So now I have to physically make the effort not to smoke. Also, the last thing, I hope whoever's winning in Family Feud is very entertaining.
Yeah, I heard that too. She was watching that.
Right? It kind of makes me want to watch it too.
This is why I firmly believe that for everybody is different. Because I actually, myself, I think back in 2015 or 2016, I stopped smoking for a whole year. Now, currently, I know that I am dependent on weed. Am I addicted? I would say no, because I can stop whenever I want to. I choose not to. I do not have any inclining or desire to stop. But my crutch with marijuana is based on the fact that it helps me deal with my anxiety and physical pain the best. Like, I have a nerve condition. Long story short, I'm probably gonna have to get surgery for it, and it's very painful, especially in like super hot or super cold environments. Anytime it rains, I really go through it. And the only effective medication has been marijuana for my anxiety and stress. Marijuana, and I honestly believe there are worse things in the world that you could be addicted to or use
That's
as a
absolutely
such.
true.
And I feel like, you know, weed is just it for me.
Well, in my personal opinion, there's nothing wrong with anything that you said. I'm more or less upset at people who don't have their priorities straight, who smoke
Right.
when they need to be putting out effort, when they... See, you have a nerve condition. You have
That's why I
actual...
said, yeah. Exactly. That's why I said everybody's definitely has their own feelings and stories. Some people can't even function when they smoke. It's like they become the stereotypes out there, which are like, oh, people that smoke have no life or don't want to do nothing in life. There are people like that.
Between my cousin at my wedding and my coworker basically every day of the week, I'm not fond of the excuse, I'm just high. I don't care. I don't care if you're high. Be high. Be super smacked all you want, but don't stop being you. Don't stop being yourself. Like when my cousin said it at my wedding, and I'll remember this for as long as my memory allows me to, I was just thinking to myself, what a terrible excuse. Like, if anything, that should make you more pleasant to deal with. But no, she was kind of all over the place. She was kind of not thinking with her own brain. She wasn't looking out of her own two eyes. She was like in celebration mode, which again, I don't mind if it's like few and far between. But if you're like, oh, I'm just high, you have to forgive me. Like, no, I don't. And if you get into a car and you drive high, the cops ain't going to forgive you either. And if you're going to smoke instead of doing what you need to be doing, like, it's almost like it's become too available. And I don't like how people will use it as an excuse, be like, I need this today, I need this before I can do that. Like, I don't mind once in a while, you know, like that would be ideal, but if it's every day, then it kind of loses its luster. And then, you know, like, I wouldn't say that you're addicted. I don't think I was addicted either, but I was smoking blunts every day. So maybe I was getting a little attached to the blunt wraps, and maybe it was infecting my mind unbeknownst to me. So whenever I'm not smoking for a couple of days, I'm just paranoid and just very hard to deal with. So when people say, oh, I could stop at any time, then it's like, you have to really ask yourself, could you? Do you have any proof that you could? You have proof. You have a whole year under your belt. That's very, commendable. So I feel like I'm probably not going to make it to a whole year. This is just kind of an experiment to me. I wanted to see who Nick Foreman is under the mask. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. During that year that I did stop smoking, I did realize that it was very hard to deal with those things that I mentioned without it. And although I did it and I was fine, I was happier when I went back to it. And that was just my experiment, I guess. Like,
yeah, after a year, that first pull was probably amazing. Oh my God, I'm feeling like I need to smoke right now.
I just did.
I believe that, and I should have smoked before this particular session because, like, yeah, I'm just angry. I'm just very, like, really upset, and there's a lot of compounding.
The Hulk Nick Fury.
Exactly. Yeah, the Hulk. Yeah, that's my problem, Cap. I'm always upset, and here's where it gets interesting. Like, when that person at the show offered me weed, I didn't question it. I was like, well, I didn't have to buy it, so I'm just gonna get on it. But I was good at that point for at least like 3 or 4 days. I was feeling like I was okay. Like, I was like, okay, I'm finally over that. I'm finally past where I used to be. Now I can get back to living my life and actually progressing the way that I should be progressing. And then somebody says, hey, you want this? And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. So it's not so much peer pressure as it is a fickle way of thinking. Like, I want to be strong. I want to be able to deny it when I'm offered. And there was one point when I was applying for jobs, and that was the longest 61 days of my life.
Oh man.
I was trying really hard. That was me and my boy. That was me and my boy. He didn't smoke either. He was looking for a job, and it was solidarity. I was looking for a job. He was looking for a job. He couldn't smoke. I couldn't smoke. We were both miserable. And then this guy's wedding party or whatever, he comes over and he asks me. He's like, I don't personally partake, but my family over there, by the way, I knew exactly none of them, said that they're about to light up, and they wanted to know if you wanted to join, and that was during my 61-day hiatus. So I was like, I unfortunately cannot. And I was kicking myself the whole time because that's generosity. That's people being kind to me for no other reason than to be kind. And sometimes you learn that weed smokers are the most kind people out of all the people.
What kind of weed smoker I am.
I'm not as kind as other weed smokers. I'm a budgeting guy. Like, I'm like, okay, I have, let's say, an eighty, and I have to make this last. I can smoke half a blunt in 2 sessions during one day to make it last the whole day, and that's just how I've been. So whenever somebody who I know smokes, I can't light them up because I already know how long my bag is supposed to last. And I felt like I was being stingy. I felt like I was being inconsiderate. I should have been lighting more people up. But once the dispensaries in Jersey...
Fuck that. If you trying to budget shit, don't feel bad for that. No way.
Let me explain. I have a list, not a physical list, but I have a mental list of people who have lit me up. And I say... Even Stevens, I gotta get you back. I gotta light you up because you lit me up. Like, I don't want to take advantage of anybody's generosity. I have in the back of my head a list of people who, if I see them and I have bud and I have a blunt or whatever, then I'll be like, hey, here you go. Yeah. I'm lighting you up now.
That's how we do. That's how I live in my house.
So, you can go ahead and play that message.
Oh my god, I can so relate, because if I literally have an eighth, literally, and that is the only thing I have, I am nitpicking, and I am making sure that shit stretches. And I bullshit you not.
Oh, no.
My fiance had left to Jamaica, and he had left me like a little bit of weed. That same little bit of weed was there when he came back to New York. When we were living in New York.
I heard him in the background. He said, preach. Or was that you, Nick?
That was me. Sorry.
Oh. Yeah, real talk.
I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, but like, as long as I'm not telling people, I can get away with it.
A little bit of weed would have been gone from me, though.
then I'm like, I feel like I've let a bunch of people down having my weed out in public, because, you know, like, I wouldn't just wait until I'm here at home. I would be smoking off-site at work, and I know my coworkers lit me up many a times. I feel like I've let him down, because he might like have seen me walk off post and watch me walk to the park and be like, hey, where's my invite? Who knows? I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy who says, I can't light you up because I need this to last me. Like, I want to, like, ideally, I'll have all the money to be able to buy all the weed, and I'll light everybody up at the same time. Be a massive worldwide site.
The great thing about that is that another weed smoker, we understand that. You know? Anybody that gets salty for that is just a cornball. I'm sorry. I want to get into this list of things that I have, like, because I want to, the problems with new age weed / the dealers. But go ahead, finish your thought.
Well, one more thing. I remember when you were saying something about medication, like you were saying, like, this is like my medication, and it's like, it's not a simile anymore. It is medication. It is to be
100%.
it is to be used like medication. A lot of people, they take pills and stuff like that, and they need those pills for the rest of their life. And it's almost no different. This is the kind of stuff that cures cancer. Treats cancer patients. When you're using it, it's like you're changing something about yourself in order to how to put this. Like you're making it seem like it's like medication. Like you have to take it. Like let me get my dose. Let me get back to normal. Right? Medication is what people who are affected with other conditions use to get to quote normal. And that's when it's like, what's the difference really? You got to use it like medication. It's medication. It is what it is. Like they call them drugs at the drugstore when it's like opiates and shit like that. But it's basically the same thing. It's something that changes what you are from now to something closer to normal, right?
Right. Exactly.
That's why it's like medication. Some people never get off their medication though, and I feel like I didn't need it. It was an additive. It was a bonus.
Exactly. Like I'm also more by myself, but I ain't fucking leaving. So like, these things grind my gears. I made a little list of things that really fucking annoy me about today's version of weed and the people who sell. People like us, everyday people, street people.
I'm street people.
As far as weed itself, now everything is about the grade, the quote unquote grade. The reason I say quote is because I don't feel like many of these so-called loud, that for those that don't know, that is what would you say? It's just a slang term for
a higher grade. Yeah, a better quality. Like,
and really, I would compare a lot of the quote unquote loud to regular weed.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're paying more for something that really doesn't have such a potent effect anyway. But I remember growing up, and I did start smoking young. I started smoking when I was 13. I told my mom that I wanted to try it. I was curious, and we smoked. That was it. Been smoking ever since. So I kind of have my degree in the matter. I've done a lot of research, and I can tell the difference from yesteryear to now, and it fucking sucks. Like, I mean, I'm gonna start with how lazy are these people who sell. First of all, if you're selling bud, it's because it's a side hustle, or it's a little hustle you got when times are rough and you need to make the extra money, or because you smoke and you're like, fuck it, I'll make money too. But hello, it's still a fucking business. I remember when motherfuckers would be like, yo, I'll come deliver, it don't matter. Now they don't even want to meet you halfway.
Oh yeah, that's the truth. One thing,
And I'm like,
my boy said, don't hustle unless you have to.
yeah.
I live by that, despite the fact that he only said it once. Don't hustle unless you have to. He has kids, so I feel like he needed to provide for them, and that was his side hustle. And then he had a job too, so it wasn't like he was using all his time to do that. Like, he was spending his time at work, and then he was spending his time playing his video games, releasing his stress, and then he was dealing. So good for him for maintaining that business aspect of it too.
Right. Because it's like, I come home from a long day of work. If I need somebody, why I gotta fucking go mad deep to you? You the one with the product. You want the money? Like, at least, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Anyway.
I remember this guy told me he'd deliver once upon a time, but then he quickly went away from that. Like, I was asking him if he could deliver. It used to be strong stuff too, and eventually the bags got smaller, the weed got whack, and he wouldn't even come to me. So I left his ass in the dirt.
That's a great point you bring up, because that happens now. It's like you find somebody and you're like, yo, they're a joint, they got that good shit, the bags are up, the bags are, plump, and after a couple of visits, you notice the bags start getting smaller, you notice the weeds start getting trashier, and it's like, yo, just because I've been to you a couple of times don't mean you don't treat me like I'm a first time customer. Like,
That's
where
exactly
is the etiquette, man?
First time customer, your deals are so much better than the rest of your trips. But there's this one person who I don't go to see anymore. She actually, when I was going last summer, in the midst of the COVID pandemic, I was going every single day, not every day, but I was going frequently enough that a couple of visits went by, and then she was like, here, you hold on to that, that's for being a good customer. And that's the kind of rapport that I want with my dealer.
Right. For sure.
But you don't get that from everybody. I don't know about these new kids. They probably buy what they feel like they need to, and they probably try to spin as much of it as possible to get the most profit. And that's where I draw the line, man. This isn't supposed to be about you making a profit. It's supposed to be about us having a shared experience here. Like, you're getting your money, yes, but I'm also getting weed from you. So now it's about me too.
So. Damn right. So that's like there's these street guys by where I live. They basically, they operate throughout the day. They just, they move from corners to corners, and I don't think they even know what the fuck they sell. This is another thing. They always coming out with new names for some shit, and then they all the fucking same shit. Listen, if it's Kush, it's Kush. I don't need 10,000 different names. Do you think I give a fuck what you name shit? Does it fucking work? That's all I care about.
I feel like, I'll buy because of the name sometimes. I'll be like, ooh, what the hell is Purple Zookies? Like,
that's how they get you. That's how they get you. And you know what? Fucking... they could call this shit "Get You Super High" and the shit'll be trash. Like, come on.
Yeah.
The dudes in my block, they'll claim I got haze, I got gorilla, and I'll be like, all right, let me get some haze. And I'm like I stated previously, I have been smoking since I'm 13. Right. First of all, haze, formerly known as piff, it has a certain smell to it. There's none in the world like it. You cannot mistake the smell for anything else. You can't mistake its taste for anything else. When I smoke their haze, I taste nothing, I smell nothing, I see nothing. It looks a certain way, and I'm like, yo, these dudes they don't know what they're selling, or they're trying to pass this shit off like it's something else. That's another thing that gets me tight. I know, like you can't play me. Like, I know. I've been wanting to go to these dudes and smack them in the fucking face.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lack of integrity in the field now. Like, it seems more accessible. Like, and besides the point, it's going to be accessible to an entire new generation for reasons that they're not even aware of. They're going to be like, oh, this has just always been available my whole life. And that's going to be the new generation. That's going to be the next kids. And I feel like it's going to take the place of smoking cigarettes in the future, like there's going to be truth ads saying, "Don't marijuana smoke and drive," stuff like that.
Yeah, right. But people have been doing that for centuries already. Oh, damn, fuck. What I was gonna say?
You're talking about dealers.
For the younger generation, you've probably never heard of this, but there used to be a thing called a Nick bag, which was $5. That became obsolete about maybe 10 years ago or more, maybe 10, 11 years ago. Anyway, now the dime bag, which would be a $10, is pretty much obsolete. You can't find that. And now, not only that, but okay, we start at dubs, most people, right? Your dubs, the dubs today, okay, let me start with yesteryear. Yesteryear dubs, you used to be able to pull at least 5 or 6 blunts out of. Today, you're lucky if you could pull 2 out of them. That's another problem with today's cannabis stamps.
I'll roll skimpers and get 3. That's just me. I feel like it's a catharsis having more blunts because it's the same amount of weed, but if I smoke it for longer, then it feels like I have more.
That's the thing. It's not. They're real light in the bags these days. It's not like it used to be.
I was just recording. I just picked it up. I kept knocking and I'm like, you with it?
There's the current issue with contaminated cannabinoids in weed today. That's also high. I did a little research on that. There are a lot of dispensaries or, the places in other countries that grow it. And, they've been interviewed and they've said how they don't feel completely okay with the fact that they're, making themselves rich off of what they know to be contaminated cannabinoids. And that's kind of crazy. It's always a flip of the switch. You don't know. I've seen, things like that happen to friends of mine where they didn't know their weed was laced or contaminated and shit has happened. That is always something that's in the back of your mind, like, as well, because with all the shit that they put in the shit, like, that's another thing. It's not natural like it used to be. They doing all this stuff to it as well, spraying all this shit or trying to make all these different flavors and crap, and it's like, yo, just leave the shit alone.
They're trying to put shiny colors on it so that they make it accessible to the people who otherwise didn't know that this was illegal at one point.
Yo, when any dealer tells me, oh, this joint tastes fire, oh, this smells great, I don't care. I don't care about the name, what you call it, what it smells like, what it tastes like. The potency. The potency is all I smoke for.
Will it do the job? I think that's the important part, is will it do the job? Will it get me high? Will it get me to cloud 9? Will it get me to cloud 7.5? Will it get me to cloud 6?
Will it cure the pain that I'm feeling?
Right.
There has been times where I have felt so shitty and light a blunt, and I'm like, yo, thank you for this thing being in existence, because to have to deal with what, I'm not a pill person, there's all kinds of pain meds they can give you. Most of them are really fucking with your life, because if they're not fucking your body up in one way, then they're making you addicted and doing something else. I don't do pills. Marijuana is natural, well, as natural as I can get, and I have no repercussions for that. Another thing that grinds my gears is when I go to cop and the dude wants to flirt with me. Like, yo, just give me my... If you're listening out there, because I'm sure when I put this on YouTube, somebody who sells and is this type of dude is going to listen. Stop fucking doing that, yo. We don't want to be hit on. Just give me my shit and shut up. That's it. That's really all I want.
I can honestly say that it's never happened to me, but right? Nobody wants to squeeze my butt. So I feel like that happens because, they have they have something of yours that you want, and you have something. Sorry, they have something of theirs that you want, and you have something of yours that they want, and they figure it could be like an even exchange, but it's not like you're super desperate and you need to get with the weed guy.
There's females out there who go for that and do that, but I'm not one of them. Most of us are not one of them, and we want to be left alone. Just give me my product and keep it moving.
Yeah, I feel like...
They don't even care. You be like, I got a boyfriend. They don't care. They know you're coming back to Cobb, so they're going to try again.
Yeah, I wish that it wasn't like that, and I'm not saying I wish it would happen to me. I just wish it wouldn't happen to anybody. I wish it wasn't like that, but it's just, I guess, it's a danger that comes with the territory, like this is stuff that's done on the low, like everything about it seems sketchy, so, like why not add the feeling of personal insecurity to that, like you don't have to feel safe right now. You want this weed, you gotta deal with that. So I feel like that's just a problem that I can't do anything about. It's not like I know if my boys are out there doing that kind of stuff. It's not like I know anybody who has actually tried to do that. Actually, no, I think I have. One of my friends said this one girl used to come over all the time and trade Z's, and I was like, ooh, like that sounds like fun, but maybe it was fun to him, wasn't exactly so fun to her. So, you got to be considerate of people's feelings. I am overly considerate, and I don't like to make anybody upset, typically. But I don't think, even if I was a weed guy, I would ever do that, because, I'm married.
And you have more respect.
Right, because it's all gonna smoke the same anyways. I mean, shit, you still gonna get high either other way, shit. Hello, my name is Jazzy 2 times. I'm a stoner, I'm a smoker. I love smoking. I'm actually pretty high right now. I'm just here to chip in, get some, insight of y'all thoughts of the cannabis business. Yeah.
What's up, Jazzy? Welcome.
Man, I'm scared to do other drugs. Fuck that. Like pop pills, shrooms, all that other shit. I'm scared to do that shit. And I would tell a motherfucker like, nah, man, I'm scared to do that shit. I don't give a fuck. You can talk shit if you want. Fuck that. If it ain't weed, I'm not touching it. Cause man, I done seen some crazy shit. When other people take other drugs, man, what it does to the mentality of their body, man. Fuck that. I'm good on that. Shit. So yeah.
What I feel the issue there is that
exactly.
they'll take an inch and run a mile, because they call weed the gateway drug, because it's like it makes you feel like this ain't so bad, maybe that stuff's not bad either. But as much as I've seen people slumped over and high on some next level shit, or even drunk, like when people drink too much and it's like they're having quote unquote fun, but they're sitting there looking miserable, and they're going to wake up feeling miserable, and their body is going to be mad at them for trying to get a little bit of disconnect from the real world. It feels to me like that's all it is people are trying so hard to disconnect from the real world that they're putting their body at risk for things like opiates, for things like, well, I don't know how much more specific I can get, but seeing as how it's never occurred to me to do any of that shit, it feels like it only really affects the people who are just really like in it deep, like like their life is not going the way they want it to, so they're like, let me try this, and it's like, oh, this is good, let me try this, and then when they get too far, it's too late to turn back. So you kind of have to live with your decisions at a certain point. No, at every point. You gotta live with your decisions at every point. So I feel like before I was a smoker, before I even took my first drink, which is how this actually all started, before I did all that, I was under the impression that a clear mind means that you have your what's a good way to put it? You have your real personality. You have the most you. You're not changing yourself at all. You're not dipping into the fountain of youth. You know, like, you're doing it the way that you've been doing it. You put the train on the tracks and the train goes to the next stop and the next stop and the next stop. You're not changing anything about yourself. I thought that makes me better than people who dip out of reality and try to make things better for themselves. And I would like to apologize publicly to anybody that I've ever offended by thinking that way, because just as easily as I was able to turn it around and decide that this is my life now, I was able to see that these people aren't bad. They're just affected in different ways.
Right, exactly. And people, it is an urban myth that weed is a gateway drug. I'm sorry, but never in my life have I ever wanted. First of all, I don't even really fuck with edibles because I can't control my high with those. I strongly feel that the people who say that's a gateway drug or have got into other drugs after, they just really have addictive personalities, or their system is different, etc. Because I've never craved a higher high, and I have dated, I've dated someone before who craved a higher high, and I was like, okay, you must seek therapy. You need help. I mean, something is wrong with you, bro.
How high can you really get, you know? Like, when people are smoking, and I'm guilty of this, when people are smoking and they think to themselves, I gotta smoke again because I want to get higher. Like, there's a line, there's a ceiling that you hit, and you don't go past that. Like, I've been the highest I've ever been, and it was a long time ago, and I've been desperately trying to get back to that point ever since, but I feel like that was the point that my body kind of just, like, experienced it for the first time. So now, anytime I ever do that ever again, it's not going to be the same. So, I wish that I could get higher than high, but I'm not going to fuck up my life, and I'm not going to fuck up my body. So, I'll only get as high as the weed should allow me, and oftentimes, like, I find myself sitting there going, am I really even high right now? Sometimes I am. That's how you get to that point, when you're like, am I even really high right now? He said, holding a blunt.
New age weed.
Yeah. Preach.
Nah, real shit, man. For real, they need therapy or something. I agree with you. Weed is not a gateway drug. That's just, like you said, you can't, people don't chase a higher weed. Like you said, that's it. That's just the real. That's really all I gotta say.
See, there's a difference between being high and being, well, I'll call it what I used to call it. Being schmeezy. There's a difference between being high and being schmeezy. Yeah, I had like a little scale back in the day, and there's smacked, and then there's schmeezy. And when I'm schmeezy, like, I'm falling in and out of sleep, you know, like, and that's a big waste, you know, like, I don't want to sleep. I want to think. I want to be up. I want to do stuff. I want to play video games in the
I don't ever want to fucking smoke and sleep, like, unless I'm, like, smoking to try to sleep.
Like, and when it makes you tired, it's, like, the worst, because it's, like, I did this because I wanted to be awake. I wanted to be here. I wanted to be now. But instead, my body wanted to go to sleep. So, nothing wrong with sleep. Just, you know, it's very confusing. Mixed signals.
I feel like another good thing about the legalization is that we need to get rid of these stupid stigmas related to weed smoking, and, you know, like I said, there are people who smoke who are complete nothings, but most of us, we're everyday hardworking people. We're people who are going through illnesses, or, you know, whatever the fucking case is. There should
hard
be no
work is
stigma
sitting on my
attached
butt.
to that. Huh?
I said, yeah, sometimes I work hard, but most times when I'm at work, I'm sitting on my butt. You know, I just don't want the time to pass at work to be like negative space. Like, I have a lot of downtime at work. I have a lot of time to myself on post, and I sit there and I stare at the computer. By the way, for backstory, I'm an overnight security worker, so I feel like, to me, it means that there's a little bit of a gray area. You know, like, I'm not really interacting with people. I'm not here to actually, like, stop anybody from doing anything. I'm just here to be here. I'm here to cause a deterrent. When people see me, they don't want to commit crimes, I guess. So when you say hard worker, it's like, I know what I bring to the table, and I know that what I'm doing when I'm at work is working on my projects from home. I'm working on my music, I'm working on my designs, I'm working on my Instagram stuff. You know, I'm trying to make all of these different realities happen at the same time, but I feel so very disorganized in my mind that unless I smoke, it's all over the place. But you're right about stigmas. I feel like there is a lot of, like, negative press about weed, but not for bad reason.
And
like,
image. There's an image, like, really, you know, people who don't smoke or know shit about it. There's an image that they have in their mind about, which I don't really give a shit about, but it still needs to stop.
The wrong reasons. The reason this image exists is because of people perpetuating whatever, something, the stereotype.
Right.
When they make this into the actuality, it's like, oh yeah, you know, I'm just smoking, you know, like, you can't blame me. It's like, I fucking could and I fucking will. So you want to be yourself, you want to be high, then that's fine, but don't, like I said before, don't forget how to be you. Like, just, yeah, but the stigmas come from the people who are like, hey, I feel like I can be that way because other people are that way. And it's like, change starts with you. Every change always starts with you. If you feel like something needs to be different in your life, fucking do something about it.
Facts.
Well, that's when other strands come into play, like, you know, hydro, sativa, indica. That's when those come into play. You got the weed that don't make you tired, it makes you focus, especially when you're at work. And then you got the weed that, you know, you just want to really just chill, damn near fall asleep type chill. So, yeah.
If I could butt in, I think I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what that means. Like, I feel like I have isolated my preferred strand. It's sativa. I want to be awake. I want to be working. I want to think about things that I otherwise wouldn't normally think about. Or, to put it into better perspective, I actually want to do the things that I say I'm going to do in my head. Because sometimes you have like a fleeting thought and then it disappears and then you forget all about it and there's no way back to that memory. But if I'm thinking about it while I'm high, my brain will kind of like kick me in the butt a little and be like, hey, why don't you write that down? Like right now. Like, no, stop doing everything you're doing right now and write it down before you forget, because you're going to forget. And it's like, all right, I'm fucking going. So it kicks me into a different gear. It kicks me into high gear, no pun intended.
Yeah. I actually, you know, I function the same, maybe a little more focused. I used to smoke and go right, you know, straight to class and have to take a test. My friends would laugh and be like, yo, you look so smacked. But I would ace my shit.
I bet you she's about to pass this test, yeah.
Exactly, like I ace my shit and I've never had that problem. But, you know, there are people who do have that problem. Like I said, it has different effects for everybody. But
one thing I've never done schoolwork while I was high. Like, I feel like I missed a great opportunity to be a good student because I'm a shite student. I'm a really bad student. Like, I can't sit still. I can't focus during tests. I don't listen during class. I am Mr. Stares Out the Window. I am just a bad student. But I feel like I could easily finish what I started and get my digital design degree if I went back to school under the influence of weed, because I would focus in class. I would listen. I'd probably even smile too. Fuck it.
You see?
And if these people make such a bad stereotype of it, then it's like, you know, that's why they don't want you to smoke before class. That's why they don't want you to do the stuff. It's about the common denominator. It's about the bottom dollar. Like, if you're doing it, it makes everybody look bad. So
I'm gonna tell you a little story that one of my homeboys told me. His grandmother, she suffered from really bad knee pain, and this lady, she hates anything that has to do with weed. Like, don't bring it around her, don't talk about it. And she just happened to be in a lot of pain that day, and he had some CBD, some kind of oil or something that he put on her knee. And, you know, a little while after, she was like, oh my God, I feel great. And then he broke it to her what it was, and she started flipping, man. She started flipping, man. But she felt great.
yeah, it's like when people eat something and then they find out what it is. Like, was it or was it not delicious? Okay? Like, be honest with yourself. Was it what you wanted it to be, or was it what it actually was? You know? Like, when I smoked weed for the very first time, I was like, none the wiser. I didn't know what to expect, but it wasn't like I secretly wanted it to make me miserable. You know what I mean? Like, that's what people forget. That there is a possibility that you might like this. Like, you know, like, to put things into perspective, I have never robbed a bank because maybe one day if I try it, I might like it. You know what I mean? And then I have to do it all the time.
Yo, I'm saying, the people that talk shit about it, if they only tried it, they be in it.
But there's no peer pressure here. See, there is the independence of choice. And if you make this choice, then, like I said, you have to be accountable for all the decisions you make. Me having picked it up for the first time, I knew that there was no room in my budget for a habit. Like, any habit. Like, I'm talking drinking either. And I don't drink like that, especially not lately. I don't think I've actually taken a drink since, I had a shot with my brother when my dad passed away last month. But before that, I drank at my wedding a little bit. I don't like to get fucked up. I don't like the way it makes me feel. And that's a choice that I made. You know, like, there is...
That actually changed for me during Corona, too. During 2020, I'll have the occasional wine and occasional drink, but, yeah, it's just not the same.
Not a big fan of wine. I've been told that I like sweet stuff, and it's like is a very, very strong term. Like, I don't like any of this. I don't like...
It's a certain wine that I drink. The only reason I'm so hard on it is because it gets you pretty lit. It's some, you know, one of them ghetto wines, but it gets you fucked up. Like, one glass, all I need is one glass and a blunt, and I'm wavy.
I think I have plenty of alcohol here because for as much as it comes in here, it doesn't go out. So it's just here. It's like, I wish I had money like I have alcohol. Like, I wish the money would come in and stay there because I'm not going to use it.
Terrible. Well, I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Thank you for being here, talking shit about weed with us. Nick, I might have to find somebody else for the next week, cast. We'll see how his journey. Matter of fact, he'll probably come back. We'll see how his journey is going.
I'll come back, even if not to promote it, but to talk about how my life is different as a result. Not better, just different.
Facts.
because I'm still.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mike, for being here. Always a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Good night, guys, and may the force be with y'all.
Peace.